This year brought several lawsuits from gay couples seeking the right to marry in New Mexico, especially after the U.S. Supreme Court decisions earlier this summer. Now, events shifted quickly, recently following moves by several county clerks to issue marriage licenses. Some Republican legislators, not necessarily senators, have filed to stop the same-sex marriage suit. Sophie, the clerk in Los Alamos, for example, did not want to do this. She was not into it, said, and she would not be alone here. This should be a legislative process. This should not be, handled by the courts. But then a judge came right back and said, you know what, you do need to, in fact, start issuing licenses. So what does that do to the argument here? I mean, if a clerk cannot on their own stop these things anymore, is it essentially over? Is that it?
Well, I think we are right now seeing this situation being handled county by county with the different clerks doing it on their own. And this maybe highlights for us more than anything the need for this issue to make it all the way up to the Supreme Court. It's something that the marriage equality advocates have been saying from the beginning. Since before Doña Ana County, that clerk stepped forward and started issuing the licenses. And it may feel that kind of broke through the dam, but in fact, these cases were heading up toward the Supreme Court well before he started issuing the licenses down in Las Cruces. And I think that they make an important point. There do, in my opinion, seem to be protections in state law and to a certain extent in our Constitution that suggest to me that our Supreme Court is going to say that this is a protected.
Now, what would that in essence do? Is that finality when the Supreme Court weighs in, or is that as good as we're going to get in this kind of a situation?
Well, no, because there is always the option. There are two options that the legislature and then the voters could pursue. So we go up to the Supreme. The cases. Not we, but I suppose the cases. I'm not affiliated with them. Go up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court says, we have this law on the books in our Constitution protect the rights of gays and lesbians to be married in the state of New Mexico. They issue their ruling. The legislature could go back and they could say, and this has been proposed in the past, we want to see a constitutional amendment in New Mexico. Legislature passes that amendment, but then it goes to the voting public in New Mexico. They would also have to pass the amendment. I think it's very unlikely that it makes it out of the legislature to the voting public. I think if it makes the voting public, I don't think it gets passed.
Sure, Mylon, last time you were here, we talked about this very issue, the idea of the legislature getting involved with this and their fingerprints. But your thoughts then about the idea of what Sophie just mentioned, its chances of getting out, the constitutional amendment, and getting out to the public. You in the same place that you don't think it would pass out of the legislature as it stands now?
It lost in a committee 7-4. Two Democrats helped kill it. It would have a hard time. But I think this is now very partisan. You have some clerks saying no and some clerks saying yes. It's like George Wallace at the schoolhouse door saying no. It is no longer a question of law. It's a question of political posturing. That's why the Supreme Court could have taken this case instantly and decided not to. It said we want district judges to handle it. Now the district judges are handling it, and you have objections to that.
So where does that leave legislators? You've got these two entities in the legislatures in the middle, it seems to me. Do they just stand pat? And
they won't stand pat.
Okay.
They'll be both sides. I don't know if so much the proponents of same-sex marriage will try again, but certainly the opponents will. I don't know that they can get anything through to the ballot, especially because it's a short session coming up. The chances of that happening are probably low. But the Supreme Court will have to decide it because we do now have a piecemeal system that is highly partisan.
Diane, it's interesting to think about this. I bet for you, it's like, if I was in the legislature right now, it's a difficulty, it would seem to me, for the legislature.
It's difficult, but the process of, and Milo is right, it hasn't passed, it's died in committee. But one of the key factors that you need to be aware of is that was because of the Democrats. That was a church-related situation with those votes. And
meaning what? I'm not quite.
Meaning that the Catholic Church took a stand against gay marriage, and these are very strong Catholics, both sides. And
so some of those Democrats represented areas.
Voted against the bill. That's part of it. I promise you it is. That's the reason they use anyway.
Interesting.
The difference is though a constitutional amendment is two different schools of thought, because if you look back in whenever it was, 2003, I guess, when the legislature passed the what everybody called the, stealing the land trust fund for education, that passed in the Senate. And we had 18 Republicans at that time because Republicans crossed over and said the people have a right to vote. That's the only difference, major difference I see, is whether it would pass or not. Will a gay marriage bill, or even a definition of what's DOMA?
Defense of Marriage.
Defense
Sure.
of Marriage Act.
Good point.
That's not going to pass either. But allowing the people to vote might, I believe, would have a chance.
You know, and Javier Benavides, I know some folks who are pro-gay marriage, who do not want this circumstance to have it put up to the people of New Mexico, because they feel like it would be a lot closer, if not a losing proposition, without a ton of money in there. Your sense of that, if this in fact does come to pass?
I think that's right. I think you don't put civil rights on the ballot. Can you imagine what would have happened if we would have put the Jim Crow laws back in the 1950s on the ballot? I mean, it's going to take some time. I think people are coming around, legislators included. I got to be at the event where they celebrated the first Bernalillo County licenses, and it was just powerful to see, to be a part of such an incredible time in our state's history. It's been a very grassroots movement, patchwork only because it's been from the bottom up, not from the top down.
Sure.
But the Supreme Court's the end goal, and I think that's coming around in the next, well, very soon.
Yeah, but sooner, who could have thought it would happen this quickly at this point for the clerks? Do you know what I mean? So too soon is not an exaggeration by any stretch. So now, in a moment, we're back to talk about the year's TEDx ABQ event with the curator and two of this year's speakers. Stay with us.